want to praise, I want to praise, I want to praise, I want to praise. He gives me life, I won't survive without my King. Yeah. I want to serve, I want to serve, I want to serve, I want to serve. He gives me life, I won't survive without my King. Without my King. I want to sing, I want to sing, I want to sing, I want to sing. He gives me life, I won't survive without my King. Without my King. When it's over, when it's said and done, He will be here, the one from which we come. Said from the beginning, oh, so when we leave, He will be here. So in Him I believe. So I sing my praise. I want to praise. I want to praise. I want to praise. He gives me life. I won't survive without my King. Without my King. I want to serve. I want to serve. I want to serve. I want to serve. He gives me life, I won't survive without my King. Without my King. I want to sing, I want to sing, I want to sing, I want to sing. He gives me life, I won't survive without my King. I won't survive without my King. I want to serve, I want to serve, I want to serve, I want to serve. He gives me life, I won't survive without my King. I want to sing, I want to sing, I want to sing, I want to sing. He gives me life, I won't survive without my King.
My name is Cohen Michael Ben Levi of the Hebrew family of Guyana. The aim of these dissertations is to cause the true house of Israel, who have been without knowledge of themselves for countless generations, and who are now being awakened by the God of the universe, to better serve our Creator. It is our hope that by reacquainting this awakening black nation with their laws and former history, it will hasten our return to our true identity, thereby acknowledging our ancient ancestors. This in turn will allow us to know our Father's God and prepare us to stand together to meet the terrible day of the Creator that He is now readying for all mankind. May He cause all your minds and hearts to understand. Shabbat Shalom, Lakim. I do pray that the Holy One of Israel will bless each and every one of you, that He will give strength and comfort to all of those that are suffering the loss of a loved one, and that he will even strengthen and help all of those that are having health challenges all around the world. Today we continue our study of what we've titled The Patience of Job. That might be questionable in some people's minds, or even the study of the book of Job, which is what we've been doing. I would like to thank all of you who listen to our program and support it. That the Most High will increase your knowledge of the book of Job. And we've also asked him to comfort all of those who are experiencing difficult times, troublesome times, as we know is the case all across this planet. Last week, we heard about Job's complaint and the mocking that he feels his three friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and also Zophar, are presenting before him, that they're not looking at his situation as he sees it, a man who is innocent and who's been attacked by the Creator. We all know that Eliphaz had several things to tell Job, and he asked him, he said, can a man be profitable to the Most High? When we think about Job, we should also think about why Moshe wrote this book. We know that this is really a novel, a narrative of Moses' imagination. That's what a novel is. He made up a story, but it has messages and lessons within it for you and I. Job is not a real character. This is fictitious writing, meaning that's not true. It's an imagined story, it's a novel. And so when we think about this argument, this reasoning going between Job and his three friends, and we are there, and we always want to remember that Elihu, the young man, is sitting there listening. But I want to tell you something that I haven't mentioned before. There's another listener. It's the Most High. The Most High is always listening to us. Many times when we're here going through our daily lives, we don't realize that we have a power that's watching us, that's listening to what we say out of our mouths. He's really intensely involved in our lives. And it's amazing to think that with the billions of people on this planet, that he can know everything about every individual. Even the hairs, the number of the hairs on your head or your body. Creator's knowledge is infinite. Job and all the three men extols the greatness of Yah. Beneath this story is a story about the greatness and the power of the maker of heaven and earth. That's probably what everyone should be able to grasp as you're reading this, even though many people have never grasped the correct understanding of Job. We hope this Hebrew version and translation from the Hebrew language helps us to understand it in the way we should understand the book of Job. Job considers the operations of the Most High's hand, as Eliphaz tries to tell him, is not fair in his case. He's fair generally, but not to Job. He did nothing wrong, and look what has happened to him. He lifts up, Job agrees, and he tears down. You and I agree with that. These are some of the points that we have to agree on and understand as we're reading this book. We have to know that the Creator is the one who wounds. He heals us as well. Everybody, not only Job. We need to acquaint ourselves better with our Maker. Hopefully I'm helping you do that. And this story, to be at peace, that's what, when you get closer to Yah, you can get a better sense of peace. You know what people say? It's a beautiful song I've heard sung, started in a Shabbat Yisrael, but it's sung by many brothers and sisters, as Cohane would have wanted much of his work to not be something shared with a few people, but that everyone would understand it. And they say, where there's a love, there's peace. You know, when I think about it, there must not be a lot of love in the world because the peace is very, very limited. Very few people really have a peaceful life. Maybe a increase in your love might bring more peace. Maybe that's how we can all contribute to a better planet by being a more loving man and woman and child and elder. Job is told by Eliphaz to receive Yah's instruction, his words, his Torah, and to eliminate unrighteousness in his life. And Job says, no, I don't have any. And he said, Job, you will be delivered out of your trouble through the cleanness of your hands. Job disagrees with these types of statements. Now we have approached the third of the discourses comprising the speech of Eliphaz in chapter 22. Job's answer is going to come in 23 and 24. And Bildad in 25 is going to get the last say of the three friends. And he only is going to say 6 sentences, practically about 2 paragraphs. Because Bildad, Eliphaz, and so far, they're fed up with Job's self-righteousness. They don't want to hear anymore. They're just saying, like many people say, I just dropped the conversation. So it's going to end, not for Job. Job is going to go on and rant for 6 chapters, 26 to 31. He's going to be telling all about his righteousness and the greatness of Yah, because that's where he's going to go now, because he's really been saying it all along. But with that, he's proclaiming his righteousness. Job's friends, as we all know, they're saying, Job, you got to change your ways. They're inciting the argument by telling him to repent. That's why he's saying, repent for what? His friends, in the form of appeals, they urge Job, strongly confess, and they even warn him and advise him. You have hidden sin and iniquity, and if you don't come clean, Job, it's never going to end for you. Job steadfastly denies any sin. He almost says he's perfect. That's what really gets them angry, because that's how it comes out to them. And they say, Job says, well, look at the facts. They say, look at the facts too. Look at what happened. He said, but you all haven't told me anything wrong that I've done. Because in a little while, he's going to start to list evil people, and he's going to start to say, I'm not like that. That's what a lot of people do too. They're not like Job, innocent. They feel by pointing out other people's unrighteousness, it makes them more righteous. So it's a lot of ways we can think about this, and human beings, we can learn from this story of Job. And so we're going to get to Elihu in the 32nd chapter. We won't get him today, but that'll be letting us know we're getting to the climax of the story. See, we're building up to, again, the highlight. That's where we're going now, because we approach it. Every story has a highlight, and it has a problem too. What's the problem? Job says he's righteous. His friend says, no, you not. It's impossible. Can nobody have all the things happen to them that you've had happen to you and you be a righteous person? That's not how the Creator works. He do not punish innocent people. And Job, therefore, you are not an innocent man. You need to come clean and confess. And so that forms the story of what we have as a plot. And now we have to figure out, well, how's this all going to end up? Because everybody's arguing their side. Everybody's giving the Most High praise, his friends, and so is Job, saying how great he is. The bottom line is, Job is saying, I'm innocent. They're saying, no, you're not. They are accusing Job. They're like what I call them in Hebrew, a Satan, not a Satan, because Satan is devil. He's the controversial one. In other words, devil started everything. He's the beginning of lies. He's the beginning of all evil. But now, let's talk about people, because Job knows, and everybody knows, all of us know, that the devil can be in people. And the devil is the accusers in Job's 3 friends. We'll see how it all turns out. They're taking on, because the devil had to get into the story. He has to try to get Job to curse. They're trying to break Job And all of them have come to now. Bildad's the last one. He said, I'm going to have my last few words. If Job still says he's righteous, then I know there ain't no chance of us getting, we might as well just be quiet, because the three friends are going to end their conversations during this third discourse. And the third discourse is long because it takes us right to the end of this story in chapter 42. Let's begin to think about where we are right now, because we know what Bildad has just said. That is Eliphaz, and we'll get to Bildad in a few moments. But let's now look and see how we pick up our story in chapter 23, verse 1. Again, Shabbat Shalom Lekem.
Then Job answered and said,
Even today is my complaint bitter.
See, this is going on for days. It's like it's another day, and Job feels the same way. So we know this is not one sitting. These are the clues that tell us, the inference that tell us, no, they have been there for some time, coming and going. Come see.
My hand has become heavy because of my groaning.
He said not his hand, he said my stroke. It's like what I receive in my lips from Most High is heavier, it's more stronger than my groaning and my complaint.
Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come even to his seat.
Have you ever felt like that? Because there's perhaps people out there that feels like Job felt, or thinking like Job is thinking at this time in your trouble. He's saying, I wish I could have a personal one-on-one conversation with the Almighty. Sit down with him and discuss things that he's done to me in my life. You ever felt like that? Maybe you haven't. Job says, even the Most High would give heed to my argument. Y'all ain't listening, but he would listen to me. And he would side with me. He would say, yeah, Job, you're righteous. You're upright. He said, the Most High would not judge unfairly. He knows a righteous man. He would uphold me forever. That's what Job was thinking. Job was saying, but I can't find him. Where is he? He's hiding from me. Don't see.
I will order my cause before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I will know the words which he would answer me and understand what he will say unto me. Will he contend with me in his great power? Nay, but he will give heed unto me.
He says he's telling his friends, they're listening. They're probably, you know how we are, we make faces. These men are there, they ain't got a faceless expression. They're probably sucking their teeth. They're getting pissed off at Job. He's ranting on about his righteousness. Don't see.
There the upright might find reason with him. So shall I be delivered.
It's like many of you in the office audience are probably saying, who does Job think he is? That's what we probably say to our friend. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are to talk like that before the Most High, who's all powerful? Don't see.
Behold, I go forward, but he is not there.
He says, hiding from me. Everywhere I look, I go forward, I go left, I go right. I can't even see him.
And backward, but I cannot perceive him. On the left hand, when he doth work, but I cannot behold him. He turneth himself to the right hand, but I cannot see him.
There's wisdom in that. It's saying that no matter where you look, you can't. Your eyes are not pure enough to look on the Creator. Come see.
For he knoweth the way that I take. When he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold.
There's wisdom there. He knows when you go left, right. He knows where you're going tomorrow and if you're going to be here tomorrow. That's the wisdom in all of this. Can you understand the power, the might, the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding? It's incomprehensible. You can't even compare it to anybody you know that knows everything, sees everything, is everywhere. That's what this is about. This is now getting into the greatness of the Most High. I hope you get it.
My foot had held fast to his steps. His way have I kept, and turned not aside.
He said, I did nothing unrighteous, and look at me.
I have not gone back from the commandment of his lips.
I didn't break no laws.
I've treasured up the words of his mouth more than my necessary
He said,
food.
even necessary food, you know, certain things you gotta eat. He says, fruits, vegetables, rice. He said, Most High word is more important than all that stuff. I don't care for breakfast, dinner, lunch. He said, those are my main meals. He said, I'll skip them for the word of the Most High. I get full off of Yah's word. Think about it. Is that powerful thoughts? How much do you eat the Torah? How much do you eat truth? How much do you get in touch with the prophets and read the word of Yah, the Proverbs and the Psalms? Job says, hey, I enjoy it more than the meals, more than food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
But he is at one with himself. And who can turn him?
That's wisdom right there. The Christian should have picked that line up. One with himself, he's not 3 in 1. Yah is one with himself. That means I don't have no father, no mother, no sister, brother. I'm one with myself, Yah is saying. I'm not no Trinity.
And what his soul desireth, even that he doeth.
He said, whatever he want to do, the Most High can do anything he wants to. Are you and I like that? He's comparing. We're not on that level.
For he will perform that which is appointed for me.
He gives everybody their appointment. Whatever lot he gives you, your portion, you can't question it. It's coming from him. You better be thankful you have a portion, is what Job and the wisdom in these words are saying.
And many such things are with him.
Everything is with him.
Therefore, am I affrighted at his presence?
That's what we should all be afraid when somebody's that powerful. We're afraid of policemen. The Most High said, how do you have fury for the enemy and you fear the captive, you fear your slave master and your plantation owner, then you fear me, the army and the police? He said, you don't understand my power, my might.
When I consider, I am afraid.
That's what Job is saying. When I consider how powerful you are, I'm afraid.
Yea, Yah had made my heart faint.
And I know people who say that, I'm not afraid of nothing. Oh yeah? You think so? Let me be the one to put some fears in front of you. I want to put you in a cage. Put you in a cage with a lion. I mean, he hasn't eaten in 10 years. Okay, you get the picture. He just waiting for anything look like me. And you ain't gonna be afraid. We put you in there. Or let's say, you can't swim. And we're gonna throw you in the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean in the middle of it when the storm is raging. You're not gonna be afraid. And I can go on and on and on. You get the picture.
And the Almighty had affrighted me because I was not cut off from before darkness.
He knows everyone's fear. He's saying, I wasn't cut off before darkness. I wasn't cut off at death. He said, now I'm facing all of this trouble.
Neither did he cover the thick darkness from my face.
He said he could have hidden me and let me not even see this troubles that I'm seeing, but he didn't do that. He's the one responsible.
Why are times not laid up by the Almighty?
Yes, it's a good question. Job is saying our relationship with the Most High is one-sided. Why don't the Almighty put time aside, lay it up and just say, let everybody live forever, don't worry about no time, months, days, weeks, forget about all of that stuff. He said, and again, why don't we know his time? Why do we know why, like his days are numbered that? Why is this thing so one-sided? He's the one on top, we're on the bottom. He checks our days and number our days, but his days nobody don't even know nothing about. He's eternal and nobody can even check on him. We're gone to even see what happens later on in the eternity. Why is it like that?
And why do not they that know him see his days?
Why don't other human beings that know Yah, that have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, why don't we see his time? How long he's here, been here, and know all about him. He's watching over us and marking every move and punishing us when we do something wrong. I don't think that's right when you do it to a righteous man, Job is saying.
There are that remove the landmarks. They violently take away flocks and feed them. They drive away the ass of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for a pledge. They turn the needy out of the way.
Yeah, he said, why don't you look at them? He said, I haven't done none of this type of stuff. His friends are listening to his righteousness. Again, look at the stuff he's saying. These people do these things.
The poor of the earth hide themselves together. Behold, as wild asses in the wilderness, they go forth to their work, seeking diligently for food.
People work hard to try to get something to eat. Poor people, the desert.
The desert yielded them bread for their children.
See, they got to go hunting out in wild places, in hot places, just to try to provide. It's a lot of labor goes into feeding your family and your children.
They cut his provender in the field.
Yes.
And they despoil the vineyard of the wicked.
Yes.
They lie all night naked without clothing.
Yes, that's the life of human beings.
And have no covering in the cold.
Good and hardworking and wicked people, they all going through all of that.
They are wet with the showers of the mountains and embrace the rock for want of a shelter.
Yes, people and animals alike, they have to seek shelter in places that's in the earth. They don't even have a decent house to live in.
There are to pluck the fatness from the breast and take a pledge of the poor.
Yeah, the people that look through these things, they don't have no heart when it comes to a mother that don't have a husband. And people take prices from them just for a pledge because they poor. They got to get something to say, you're coming back and going to pay the debt. So again, he said, look at those people. Look at them. I never did those things.
So that they go about naked without clothing.
Yes, look at the cruelty in the world.
And being hungry, they carry the sheaves.
Yes, carry heavy loads of trying to carry the barley and the wheat on their shoulders from hard labor.
They make oil within the rows of these men.
Yeah, multitudes. Sometimes they have to lines to deal with a field. It's a populace that got to tread out that wheat and what have you.
They tread their wine presses and suffer thirst. From out of the populous city, men groan.
Yeah, because it's hard to, and the sweat of that brow shall out eat bread.
And the soul of the wounded crieth out.
He said people are hurting in this world, yet
Yah imputed it not for unseemliness.
Yes, you don't see that stuff. But you mock me, Job is saying. You're punishing me, but what about all this stuff and all these things that are happening in the world? It's like you're not really taking notice of those types of things. Job is upset. He wants to know what's going on.
These are of them that rebel against the light. They know not the ways thereof.
Yeah, look at these people. They do evil. They rebel against the light, against proper understanding and truth.
Nor abide in the paths thereof.
They don't walk in the path of righteousness. He said, look at the murderer.
The murderer riseth with the light to kill the poor and needy.
And he said, I ain't killed nobody.
And in the night, he is as a thief.
You know what they say, if you lie, you'll steal. And if you steal, you'll kill. That's what Job was saying here. Like one sin, they go from one sin to another. These are people that get away with stuff. And look at innocent me. I'm punishing for nothing, Job was saying.
The eye also of the adulterer waited for the twilight, saying, no eye shall see me.
And this is true, you and I know it. People sneak around and plot evil all over the place. Job, this innocent man. Now Satan, he's happy with all of those evil people that's doing that work. But innocent Job, this is the one why Job's complaining. They're coming and breaking me. And the Most High did this to me. He's saying he's innocent. We all know he is innocent. But does he have a right to brag about it?
And he put a covering on his face. In the dark, they dig through houses.
What the other people do have nothing to do with you. Every tub sits on its own bottom. You're not being judged by other people's wickedness, the murderer, the thief, the liar. You're being judged for your own evil. Everyone is. For your own wrongdoing.
They shut themselves up in the daytime. They know not the light.
You know, that's the thing about the thieves. They know when to come out. They eat that like at daytime when everybody else is working. The thief is sleeping. He's just resting up, getting his sleep so he can be wide awake when the night comes in. And when night comes in, he's smiling because he knows, I'm going to get a prey tonight. That's what the animals do also. There are animals that they don't come out in the daytime. They come out at night because they're looking for the prey. You got bats that come out to get the mosquitoes. You have other wild animals that come out in the night, the owls. You got certain animals, they're the night animals, night creatures. Job is saying there's people that do evil in the nighttime, and he's not one of them. But look what has happened to him.
For the shadow of death is to all of them as the morning, and they know the terrors of the shadow of
He
death.
said they wake up, people that do evil like that, they're accustomed to being in fights and being in trouble. That ain't nothing. That's like a normal thing for them. They wake up and they ain't afraid of no terror. They know I got my gun, I got my knife, and if somebody wake up, I know what to do with him, and I'm not going to be afraid to kill anybody if they wake up and try to stop me from stealing.
He is swift upon the face of the waters.
Troubled waters. Troubled waters. The wicked don't care now. They don't think about troubled waters. They swift, they run to trouble.
Their portion is cursed in the earth. He turneth not by the way of the vineyards.
You want to be accursed in the earth? That's what he's saying. Sinners are cursed. They think they're going to make it. They think everything's going to turn out good. But you and I know sometimes they get shot at that thievery. Sometimes they get caught, spend many years in jail. We know it don't always turn out the way they expect it to, and sooner or later, they get caught. And you know what makes them do it again? When they get away. That's how you know they're gonna get caught, because that gives them the encouragement to keep stealing, keep doing what they're doing, the wrong and the evil.
Drought and heat consume the snow waters, so that the netherworld, those that have sinned.
Oh, there's a beautiful simile there. That's so nice. He said, drought, no water, no rain, heavy heat. It consumes snow waters, it melts it. He said the same way, just like that, the same way, so doth the netherworld those that have sinned. It melts you down. You're gonna end up dying sooner or later. That's the wisdom is speaking to all of us that's listening. This is some wisdom for everybody that's doing wicked and evil things. You're gonna get caught sooner or later. The womb
forgetteth him. The worm feedeth swiftly on him, swiftly on him.
Yes, in other words, the worm is waiting in the ground for you to die. And the womb, it done forgot you. You was born, but that's forget about that. Get ready to die if you're wicked.
He shall be no more remembered.
See what I'm saying? This is the wisdom that Job is sprouting out. Now you can see that, hey, this can apply to anybody's life. If you're either on the good side of these words or the wrong side of it, where do we stand when it comes to unrighteousness that he's speaking about? He says,
and unrighteousness is broken as a tree.
Now that's deep stuff. Just like a tree is ripped up out the ground, he said, like the wind, strong wind come and rip it out the ground. He said, the wicked and the sinful get ripped up out of the earth the same way. He devoured
the barren that beareth not.
Then you won't even have children.
And do it not good to the widow.
That's right. And he said the widow, evil people don't even regard them. Job was pointing out in these different ways the way he is not.
He draweth away the mighty also by his power. He riseth up, and he trusted not his own life.
In other words, nobody have power that's a human being can think he can outdo and outpower the Most High, though it be given him
to be in safety, whereon he resteth. Yet his eyes are upon their ways.
Yah sees everything you're doing, and sooner or later, he's going to catch up with you.
They're exalted for a little while.
Just for a little while are the wicked and the sinful exalted.
And they are gone.
And sooner or later, before you know it, they're no longer here. Yea, they are brought low.
They are gathered in as all others.
Just like everybody else died, don't think like they spoke earlier in the dissertation that they were saying that the wicked seem to have all good things happen to them. No, he's letting you know it's not like that. They get theirs, it's in time. It just, if you live long enough, you get to see the wicked catch it. But sometimes you just don't live long enough to see how it turns out with them and their children and their generations to come.
And wither as the tops of the ears of corn. And if it be not so now, who will prove me a liar and make my speech nothing worth?
Oh, yes. Yeah, he's setting them all up to say something with those words. He's saying, prove me a lie. Everything that I said about the wicked, you know it's true. But they take it as though Job is talking about his righteousness again. So Bildad comes in and gives Job an answer.
Then answered Bildad the Shuhite and said,
Dominion and fear are with him. He maketh peace in his high places. Is there any number of his armies? And upon whom doth not his light arise?
And that's some powerful words from Bildad. Listen to think when the question he asked, is there any number of the Creator's armies? It's innumerable. That's why he called Yehovah Zevaot. See now, that's something that like when you start talking about the different men that they told gods, you know this don't apply for them and apply to them. Any of the gods you can think of, they don't have no armies. They don't compel and command the locust and the ants and the rats and the roaches and the lion. And he's going to go in and tell you all these things. The Most High controls the lion. The lion got to beg him for food in the den. He feeds everything, both man and beast look unto the Most High for food in due season. That's what this is. It's trying to open up our minds and let us understand how great the power of Yah is. And that's why when you start talking about these men that died and all of these idols that they have in the world, they never read the Bible and understood it correctly. It denounces that nonsense. And so am I. because it's the truth. And it's all through the Old Testament. That's why they had to write a new one to stick that falsehood in there. They can't find it in here, so they had to create a book called a New Testament, a new lie. Fake news, that's what it is, because it's called the good news, the gospel. It's nothing but fake news. It ain't nothing true in it, except what they took out of the old. And we're going to go back there later in our teachers to show you what they took out of the old and mix the lie with the truth. Every good liar has to tell some truth in their lie. But see, in the truth, it's straight up truth all along. You didn't get no other God in here at any other time. Everybody, Eldad, you could take again, Eliyahu, Bildad, Eliphaz, Sophar, everybody in ancient times gave praise to Yah. There was nobody that said, well, what about JC? What about this one? What about nobody? Because they knew and understood. They can't do nothing. They're dead idols. Just like this is telling us. They can't help. They don't have no armies. They don't have no power. Tamshik.
How then can man be just with Yah? Or how can he be clean that is born of a woman?
That's how he's poking and mocking at Job once again. See, he gave him some wisdom. He added on to what Job was saying in exaltation of Yah. But now he comes in with that line that let Job knows they still calling me a sinner.
Behold, even the moon hath no brightness, and the stars are not pure in his sight.
Think about that now. That's deep stuff. The moon. You and I look up to all the phases of it. That full moon in Jericho, in places like Jericho, which is called the city of the moon, it's almost like you can touch it. It's so bright. And you know, if you've been out on a full moon, I've been in the jungle, you don't even need to turn on your flashlight. That moon is so bright, it's like on a full moon, we can walk around in Rockstone in the bush with no flashlight because it's so bright. But it's dull to the creator, Job is saying. The stars, they ain't got no light to him.
How much less man that is a worm?
Look how he putting them down. He said, Job, Bill Dottie said, Job, you ain't nothing. You're like a maggot in the ground. That's why when you hear me say often, I try to say, I'll say it right now. I'm nothing. My wisdom is nothing. See, one thing I learned from Cohane Levi, he told me, he said, anytime you think you wise, just start listing all the things you don't know. Not what you know. Just make a list of all the things you don't know about everything in the world. Then you'll realize you really know nothing. And when you understand how you get pain and how you got worms in your body, sometimes people got to get worms taken out, take worm syrup and all of that. I've seen people where, some of you young, you never seen this. I remember I had a girlfriend, I visited her house, and her mother's boyfriend, he had worms come out his nose, I couldn't believe it. I was a youth, but I'll never forget that sight. He had worms in his body that came out his face. Do you know that worms can come up from your intestines, right up through your mouth, right up through your nose, out your ears? Live long enough and see stuff like that, then you know what Job was saying is the truth. That's what I'm telling you. Human beings ain't nothing. You get diarrhea. Stop you from going to work, stop you from going to temple, stop you from doing, you're not like the creator. He's not a carnal being. That's what we're trying to say. Lift up your understanding when you talk about the Most High and the Almighty. That's what we're saying. Forget about all that garbage they tell you in these religions. This is the truth, it says.
And the Son of Man, that is a maggot.
Your children, he's saying, I'm like a worm, a maggot. We're nothing. And Job got it. Job heard every word he says. And Job, you know, I don't have to tell you, Job has a response. See, Job has a response for everybody. And that's what gets him, you know, tit for tat, word for word. And of course, Bildad is telling him, he says, you know, Job, you don't get it. This is a stalemate because you're declaring that you're righteous. And we're telling you that's impossible. Eliphaz said it, Bildad said it, and so far he's like the third in the order of the protocol. So he can't say nothing else. This is it. Eliphaz is tired of talking to Job. Bildad now got his last words in. You see, he had very little. He made it short, but you think Job ain't ready to answer him? Job is ready to answer him, and right away, and he has a lot to say on top of it. Let's listen to him in this chapter.
Then Job answered and said,
How hast thou helped him that is without power?
He said, listen to me, all three of you. Everybody need to shut up, all three of you. He said, because I want to listen. You are helpless. You ain't helping me now. You all came here as my friends to comfort me. Some comforters you guys are. I feel worse. And he goes on to say,
How hast thou saved the arm that hath no strength?
he said, I don't have no strength. I thought you would lift up my arms and give me some. He said, but you guys, like you pulling my arm out the socket. You're breaking off my arm at the shoulder blade.
How hast thou counseled him that hath no wisdom, and plentifully declared sound knowledge? But whose help hast thou uttered these words?
He said, in other words, whose help? Who helped you to speak to me? Who formed your conversation? Who wrote out your speech for you?
And whose spirit came forth from thee?
He said, tell me that. Whose ruach is on you guys? Because I think Job is saying silently, the devil's speaking through all of you. That's where your spirit is at. But he ain't come out right and said, but they get it. Everybody knows what he's saying. Whose spirit made you say these things? Hurting me the way you hurting me. Come see.
The shades tremble within the waters, and inhabitants thereof. The nether world is naked before him, and destruction hath no covering. He stretcheth out the north over empty space.
Look at that wisdom. He says, Job was saying, he takes the north and he hangs it out over nothing. He says, he could just take the earth and he just set it in the middle of space, because if you know the earth, there's no really nothing around it. We're on a ball of fire. This is showing you how deep these men were in ancient times. They had tremendous wisdom that's in them. If you read deeply, you'll see it. He's speaking about the weather and how all that functioned, the clouds and all of that, to let you know we had understanding. We were not ignorant in Africa.
The earth over nothing. He bindeth up the waters in his thick clouds, and a cloud is not rent under them.
He's telling you how it rains. Back then, we weren't no dummies. We understood how rain falls and how clouds filled up and how precipitation goes up, fills up the sky, and then comes down that rain. He's not raining from the waters that are above the heavens. No, this is water that's right here in the Earth's atmosphere in heaven, stratosphere. Don't see?
He closeth in the face of his throne, and spreadeth his cloud upon it.
He's looking down on everything. This is his throne is the heavens. He sees it all. He controls it.
He hath described the boundary upon the face of the waters.
That's right. He set the boundary so that the waters would not pass his word and transgress.
Unto the confines of light and darkness.
He said, in other words, he knows everywhere the start of light, darkness, it's all the same to him. Don't you see how powerful, how great Yah is?
The pillars of heaven tremble and are astonished at his
We
rebuke.
can't see no pillars of heaven. They're invisible. But he's saying they tremble before the Most High. He's so great that everything trembles before him. He made it all. He can destroy it all.
He stirred up the sea with his power.
Imagine that. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in that water. You don't want to be in the water. See, the sailors, they know what I'm talking about. They know how that sea is. I'm a swimmer, but I know you don't swim in that ocean. Give me 16 feet of water, yeah, I'll do that in. Backwards, forwards, stroking everything, go to the bottom and touch the bottom of the 16 feet. Used to do it in Betsy Head Pool as a child in Brooklyn, but not in that ocean. It's thousands of feet deep, not hundreds. The ocean goes thousands of feet deep, and the Most High knows where the bottom is. He made the bottom of the sea, and the infinite sky, he knows it all. You and I, you know we're nothing in that light. You've been near a mountain. Go to Israel and stand near some of the mountains. You'll see all around the world. Mountains make you look like nothing. The ocean makes a man look like an ant with nothing.
And by his understanding, he smited through Rahab.
Rahab, the Nile River. Smoke the Nile, smoke Egypt. That's what Rahab stands for there. Poetic name for it. You just got to know the research and you get your Bible dictionary and you'll find the answers. Come see.
By his breath, the heavens are serene.
Beruko, look at that, 13. Beruko in Hebrew, Beruko Shemayim. Yes, by the breath, the heavens. In other words, he's telling you, Seferi. You see that, Sifra. In other words, brothers and sisters, that word saraf means to burn on fire. The Most High is power, his angels. In other words, they use the serene, but I'm telling you, that Hebrew, again, Yah is terrible.
His hand appears a slant serpent.
That's
Nope.
the fiery serpent. Yes. And that's what you understand. Again, when you see those Hebrew words, you know they go hand in hand. The fiery serpent. And he's letting you know, you got boundaries you can't go. Them angels will cut you off. You go to certain boundaries. And if he wants you, he lets you come there. Because sometimes y'all let you do things to destroy yourself. Like my father said, I give you enough rope to hang yourself. God gives man enough rope to hang himself plenty of time, going far in the ocean. That's why sometimes you see those disasters when they're digging for that oil at the bottom of the sea, or when they go up into space and they got some astronauts, they call them astronauts, that you know that they never came back down, that they're floating up in there. They have satellites that they lost and they just continue to go in space. Imagine you die in space just going around. Your body deteriorates inside of a capsule because they don't understand they don't belong up there. They think that that's where they belong. You know, when you think about all the problems in the earth and the billions of dollars, you just had some people now, billionaires are going up there, just taking flights up in there. And as I said, look at the people that's starving, that need medical help and all of that, but they could spend that kind of money to go to some place where they can't eat because there's no oranges, you got to take them up there. So no bread, take it up there with you. No air, take it up there with you. No toilet, better take something up there to go to Shamus because you know, again, that's not a place for human habitation. The Most High made this place on earth, but because they don't regard the Creator, they violate all bounds. That's Satan again. See, Satan is the adversary. He's always going against, and you got to be able to recognize the devil. And he's always the one that's not complying with the rules, the instructions, with the Torah, with truth. Don't you?
Lo, these are but the outskirts of his ways. And how small a whisper is heard of him. But the thunder of his mighty deeds, who can understand?
Who can understand when he thunder? We're going to listen to a little music, but I want to tell you about a little thunder and lightning. Last night in Guyana, I don't know how it was in your place, but we had some serious lightning and thunder. Now, I'll tell you something about lightning and thunder. And most of us know this. When that lightning come cracking down in that area where you're located, you know it's frightening. Let's say you're sitting in your car and lightning comes striking. You know, there's cities and states like Oklahoma and Texas. I remember when I went to Texas and I was driving through Oklahoma. They got places that they know is like the lightning lane. You can go to any time. I wouldn't know how people could live in a place where lightning striking all day long, all left, right. Your car going, it's striking on the left, and you seeing it come down. And every once in a while, that thunder come through there. Man, I'm telling you, that's how it was last night in Guyana. Lightning and thundering. And it just reminded me of the course in the day because when you hear it and see it, no words can describe it. The power of the Most High. They say he thunders with his voice. You're going to hear that when we continue. And that lightning, man, you don't want to be struck by lightning. It's getting electrocuted alive. The power of Yah. Electricity, I used to think that you had to have a wire. Plug it in the wall to have electricity. Do you know that we're living in an electric magnetic field called the earth? That's why he can do all that stuff. It's amazing. We're living on a ball of fire. The earth, if you go inside, is molten fire and burning that's of temperatures you can't even measure with a human instrument. And the Creator have us living on the crust of the earth, which is several miles thick. But beneath that thickness of that crust is burning molten fire. That's why when you see an earthquake and that lava comes out, it's not water. It's that molten fire, lava. That's what we live on. The power of Yah, the greatness of the Almighty. His name is the greatest name of all time. His power is the greatest power, eternal power, forever and ever. Listen to some music that sings about it. All of our songs today glorifies, exalts the Holy One of Israel. We praise Yah, Kol Yisrael, all Israel. Listen to Chief Uziel and UC Ben Levi. Music always praising Yah. Last night, I enjoyed
We
listening.
praise Yah, we praise Yah. Yah, He is and always will be our King, and we will praise Him, and we will serve Him. You know we need Him, and yes, we love Him. Yah, He's alive, forever lives, watching you and me. Yes, He is. Yah, He's alive, forever lives, watching you and me. Yes, He is. Oh, yes, He reigns. You know He does. Shout aloud, tell the world you know Yehovah. Yes, He reigns. Oh, yes, He reigns. You know He does. Shout aloud, tell the world you know Yehovah. Yes, He reigns. We praise Yah, we praise Yah. Yah, He is and always will be our King, and we will praise Him, and we will serve Him. You know we need Him, and yes, we love Him. Yah, He's alive, forever lives, watching you and me. Yes, He is. Yah, He's alive, forever lives, watching you and me. Yes, He is. Oh, yes, He reigns. You know He does. Shout aloud, tell the world you know Yehovah. Yes, He reigns. Oh, yes, He reigns. You know He does. Shout aloud, tell the world you know Yehovah. Yes, He reigns. We praise Yah, we praise Yah. Yehovah King, Yah, He is and always will be our King, and we will praise Him, and we will serve Him. You know we need Him, and yes, we love Him. Yah, He's alive, forever lives, watching you and me. Yes, He is. Yah, He's alive, forever lives, watching you and me. Yes, He is. Oh, yes, He reigns. Yes, He reigns. You know He does. Shout aloud, tell the world you know Yahweh. Yes, He reigns. Oh, yes, He reigns. You know He does. Shout aloud, tell the world you know Yahweh. Yes, He reigns.
Oh boy, I don't know about you, but when I think of Yah, it takes a lot of power to hold back the tears. When you think about how good, how great the Most High is in our lives. In the 27th chapter, we get more wisdom from these three men, and from Moses' hand, the pen that wrote these words. He penned some very wise thoughts for us to consider. And again, by His Spirit, Yah makes tranquility. He makes for serenity. He makes for peace on this earth and in our lives. We all need Him. We all want to strive to get closer to Him. I hope this helps those that are saddened, strengthened you. But we all need to hear words like this. See, sometimes trouble was yesterday. Sometimes trouble is today. Sometimes we all know trouble will be tomorrow in our future. So we all need to get the wisdom to have this type of understanding to prepare us for life and what life yields to us and brings to us. It says in the 27th chapter.
And Job again took up his parable and said,
As Yah liveth, who had taken away my right, and the Almighty, who had dealt bitterly with me, all the while my breath is in me, and the Spirit of Yah is in my nostrils. Surely my lips shall not speak unrighteousness, neither shall my tongue utter deceit. Far be it from me that I should justify you.
Job is saying, I will never justify what you are saying. He said, I swear, as the Most High liveth, who have taken away my right for no reason. He is responsible for dealing bitterly with me, bitterly with Job. He said, I have not sinned. I'm not lying. I'm not a hypocrite. Therefore, I will not justify your words. He said, till I die, I will not change my position. I hold fast my righteousness, Job is saying. Because he was right, he didn't do anything. And he's saying, but can you and I say that? That's the question. Can you say that? Can I say that? No, I can't say that. No, I can't say it. Hold fast to your righteousness. You know what the scripture says about Israel? Our righteousness is as filthy rags. It says.
Till I die, I will not put away my integrity from me.
I'm not going to say I'm wrong when I'm right.
My righteousness I hold fast. I will not let it go. My heart shall not reproach me so long as I live.
He said, no, I'm not going to disrespect myself by justifying you guys saying you're all right. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm not going to have contempt for me. That's what Job is saying.
Let mine enemy be as the wicked, and let him that rises up against me be as the unrighteous.
And he's speaking to his three friends in case you don't know.
For what is the hope of the godless, though he get him gain?
He said, and then he's speaking truth. He said, anybody, even if you are, again, a wicked person and you gain something by your ungodly ways, he said, what does it really matter? What did you really gain? Where is going to be your profit in the end when the Most High take away your life and your soul?
When Yah taketh away his soul, will Yah hear his cry?
When you're dead.
When trouble cometh upon him?
And when you start troubling, you're wicked, because that's what people do. They do evil and then say, Yehovah, forgive me, pardon me, and help me right away. Don't happen like that.
Will he have his delight in the Almighty and call upon Yah at all times?
Would a wicked person change after they have get a little help and the Most High give them a little reprieve and take mercy on them? Don't they go back to their sin again if they're really a wicked person, Job is saying?
I will teach you concerning the hand of Yah.
Now Job is saying, you guys ain't teaching nothing. Listen to my wisdom on Yah.
That which is with the Almighty will I not conceal.
I'm not going to hide any wisdom on the Most High. I'm going to give him his due praise.
Behold, all ye yourselves have seen it.
He said, you know this. Every human being could testify to this truth that I'm saying.
Why then are ye become altogether vain?
Why are you guys so empty? I thought you were wise men. But now I can see you guys ain't got no knowledge whatsoever. I will not blame myself, shame or disgrace myself for these events and accepting, discrediting myself. I'm innocent, Job is saying. You don't get it? Come see.
This is a portion of a wicked man with Yah.
He said that. He said, okay, this is the portion of a wicked man. That's what he's saying. Go ahead.
And the heritage of oppressors.
He said, that's what happened to people that are wicked, not me. I'm not this way. That's what it said, Job. Do you hear what you're really saying? You're saying all these people did these things and this is what happened, but not with you. It happened. You had to do something wrong, brother.
Where's he received from the Almighty?
Everybody else has a reap and sow. It didn't happen with you. Reaping and sowing and come out and you reap something other than what you sowed.
If his children be multiplied, it is for the soul.
He said, that's what happened to wicked people's children. Your children died, Job. It's a reason.
And his offspring shall not have bread enough.
And Job is saying, y'all said those things, I'm giving it back to you. I know that, but it didn't happen in my case.
Those that remain of him shall be buried by
He
pestilence.
said, I know that. That's why I didn't do evil. I feared the Most High. I loved his word.
And his widow shall make no lamentation.
He said, that's what happened to wicked people. Even the widow end up suffering. And don't even cry when he's dead. Everybody's glad to see the wicked die.
Though he heap up silver as a dust,
Yes, he get rich as he want again. He can't take it, cannot take it with him.
and prepare raiment as a clay,
Oh, yes, he said that ain't going to do him no good in the grave. He's going to turn to nothing.
he may prepare it,
He can do whatever he wants.
but the just shall put it on.
He said somebody else going to inherit that wealth that the wicked build up and store up. You're not going to enjoy it. Someone else will get it.
And the innocent shall divide the
That's
spoil.
who's going to get it. Innocent, righteous people going to get the wealth of the wicked.
He buildeth his house as a moth,
That's right.
and as a booth which a keeper maketh.
That's right. Just like one little booth. In other words, he says, just one little booth. In other words, you ain't going to have nobody. You're going to be alone, brother. And the wicked, they end up alone and they end up suffering, and they cause so many of their families to suffer too from generations. Most High said, those that obey and keep his commandment, he'll bless them to the 1,000th generation. And the wicked, he said, 3rd and 4th generation of their children will see his wrath. We got to remember those precepts. They're all wound in the words of this wisdom. Got to connect the dots in the Torah. See, one of the things about the Torah is that it is to be studied, but more importantly, it's to be applied. So that's the key to all of this wisdom that's here. There are people saying, hallelujah, hallelujah, amen. But you got to apply this stuff. This wisdom that's in all these lines. That's why you read Job and you got to say, oh, I can do this. I heard he said do that. Help the poor. He's going to list things that a person should do to get the favor and to do righteous acts. Draw them out and pull them and say, I'm not doing this. Maybe I can do a little more of that to be a more righteous person. It's a lot in here that we can pull from, can take to help us be better people. It says.
He lied down rich, but there shall be naught to gather.
See, that's what he wants you to know. Don't be into that material stuff. There are more important things in life. He's going to speak about sapphires and onyx stones and gold of Ophir and all that stuff. I'm telling you, that stuff, there's people that wear jewelry and they spend thousands of dollars on a piece of gold to wear around their neck. And you know, that's one thing you probably never see me without any jewelry on. It's, in this day and time, it's dangerous. Because that's what I said. See, people don't even know that. They rob people. And some of these guys, they wear that stuff. They have chains all around and they have bodyguards. See, I don't have bodyguards like that and I don't want them. I want to be able to walk anywhere I want to go and you ain't even think about robbing me. Even they'll kill you for a cell phone today. It's crazy in this world. So you got to, see, your wisdom is really the way you save your life today. That's how ain't nobody coming out the sky to save you. You have to use your wisdom. It's a place and a time for it. Yeah, you're going somewhere where you know you're going out your car, you got your bodyguards to walk you into the arena, you take your jewelry off when you get home, you better have somewhere to lock it up because people follow you home to get that jewelry. It ain't like ancient days in Job them time. It's a crazy world we're living in. That's why this type of talk is important in numerous ways, various ways. People got to pull out of this wisdom, out of this story. The wicked need to give heed. The righteous need to listen. The people that got problems need to say, well, I see how Job deal with his problem. People that advise people and they got the devil in their heart and trying to say they're helping, but they're hurting the people. It's a lot of stuff in here. Which one are you? Which one do you need to work on? That's why we're doing it. It's for everybody. Got to be something in here for everybody. I know I'm getting stuff out of it. I've always do. See, this one thing I know, repetition. Moses said, he was told Joshua, meditate in this book day and night. My advice to you is meditate in the book. Read it often. That's what I do. It's my life. See, when you live longer, you have more time to read it. That helps too. When you started reading in your youth, then you get gray hair on your head and you still read. Oh man, this becomes even more beautiful. This is one book that'll never get boring if you really have the spirit It'll never grow old and say its wisdom is outdated. It's a book for all times and all generations. Everlasting wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Come shake.
He openeth his eyes, and his wealth is not. Terrors overtake him like waters. A tempest stealeth him away in the night.
That's what happened to the wicked, swept away quickly.
The east wind carried him away, and he departed.
See how he's comparing and making these metaphors, comparing human beings with the wind, comparing them with the tempest of the sea. That's all his metaphors so you can see the pictures. The tempest, meaning that it's a raging sea they're talking about. Come see.
And it sweepeth him out of his place.
It's a raging sea, sweeps the desert away, sweeps the devil, the wicked people. When I say the devil, people that are against God and are enemies to the Most High. You're going to see him use those words. You don't want to become Yah's enemy. Yea.
It hurleth at him, and spareth not. He would fain flee from its power. Men shall clap their hands at him, and shall hiss him out of his place.
That's right. That's why they feel about the wicked, Job is saying. Now he goes into another deeper thought. Wisdom here. This is a profound chapter. To me, this is one of the most powerful chapters in Job, chapter 28. Not that the others aren't, but listen to this one. It says,
For there is a mine for silver, and a place for gold which they refine.
In other words, there's a place where you can get kesef. In other words, if you look in the Hebrew, it says, Ki yesh lekesef motza, umakom lezahav ya zoku. He says there's a place that you can find gold and you can find silver. And he says it's in the earth that he'll tell you. Iron, he says.
Iron is taken out of the dust,
Barzel me'afara.
and brass is molten out of the stone.
We'evein yisuk nikosha. In other words, brass is poured out. Poured out. Yasak means to pour out. It's melted because that's how they got to get it. It's in stone. It's in a solid state, but they got to apply some wisdom to get this out of the rock. He says,
Man setteth an end to darkness.
man has a way where he goes to seek out the darkest places in the heaven and the earth. He goes to the depth. He does all of that. He searches out to the farthest boundaries.
The stones of thick darkness and of the shadow of death.
He go places where you could die going there. Dangerous to go there. You know it, 2,000 feet down into the ocean, even 200 feet down. Outer space going to the moon. Now, you know that's some of us, an airplane is good enough and we only do that because we have to. But we ain't interested in going all the way up and out because that's where you're going, up and out, because it ain't like you're going up higher. See, when you go out the Earth's air, you're on a ball. It's like on a basketball we live. The gravity keeps us on it. When you go, you don't go up, you go out of the Earth's atmosphere. You're no longer on the planet. And so now we don't want to go but so far. That's why we like the ground. Nobody in Africa thought about going to the moon. We looked at the moon, thought it was beautiful, but nobody said, I want to fly there. That's why you didn't have nobody trying to fly. That didn't come into European history. The Wright brothers, go and study it. They wanted to fly. They saw the birds and they said, oh, we could do that. Yeah, I got a plan for it all, though. We don't want to go there. Let's stick to our point. It says,
He breaketh open a shaft away from where men sojourn.
in other words, he's going deep into the earth. Men do that.
They are forgotten of the foot that passeth by.
They don't even remember people are walking up on the earth on top of them when they go down in the earth so deep.
They hang far from men. They swing to and fro.
Oh, yes, man. They're just like suspended in space when they go out there. You even see them recently. They say there's no gravity. That's what he's saying, to show you that hey, they had some wisdom about a lot of things that people don't know. There's nothing new under the sun, says Solomon.
As for the earth, out of it cometh bread,
Yeah, that's true.
and underneath it is turned up, as it were, by the fire.
That's what I was speaking about earlier. If you go beneath this earth, it's a molten ball of fire inside this thing that we say. We only live on the crust of the earth. Inside is a ball of fire.
The stones thereof are the place of sapphires.
Precious stones, man. Sapphires. They are precious stones. In fact, sapphire, they tell me the red sapphire is more expensive than the diamond.
And it had dust of gold.
Yes, man, they tell you, have dust of gold. You can go so deep with stones and gold in the same area.
That path no bird of prey knoweth.
No bird goes in there. That's too deep for them. They fly in above. They don't even go up into where they go out of the space, the Earth's atmosphere. Birds know their boundaries, not man. He goes up and down, does stuff that where it can kill you.
Neither have the falcon's eye seen it.
And even the birds that can fly high, they don't go all low. He can dive and catch prey out of the ocean, but he don't go that deep in there. No. The proud beasts.
Have not trodden it.
And even those ones that think they are superior animals, the horse and the lion and the hippopotamus and the crocodile. He said, no, they don't go there.
Nor have the lion passed thereby.
No, he don't go by there in the places where men go down into dirt looking for gold and stone and diamonds and onyx stones, he says.
He putteth forth his hand upon the flinty rock.
That's right.
He overturned the mountains by the roots.
Man do all of that. He'd make a tunnel inside of a mountain. Man can search out some powerful things.
He cutteth out channels among the rocks.
That's right. Man does all of that, and human beings got machines now that can move mountains. They've done it in the land of Israel. I've seen it with my own eyes.
And his eye seeth every precious thing.
Any stone or gold or precious thing, crystal, glass, all of that they'll mention. He says, man, he puts his hand on it.
He bindeth the streams that they trickle not.
He built dams to change the direction of mine.
And the thing that is hidden bringeth he forth to light.
Oh, yes, he can find out things that's in the earth, minerals. We got uranium, potassium. He has stuff now, uranium and certain things, platinum for making nuclear bombs. Man has discovered all of that, that power is right in the earth. You just get some of that uranium and they know what to do with it because they've studied the science and they can make bombs like more powerful than the hydrogen, the atomic, splitting the atom. Now they know how to do, they got stuff now that's power, and they found it in the earth.
But wisdom, where shall it be found?
Oh man, that's a profound question. Where hakakam, wakakma, mi ayin, timsa. Timsa, where will you find? Where? Where do you find wisdom? That's what he's saying. You find all these things, man can find all these things, gold and silver and all types of precious stones. But where do we find wisdom at? Let's see if Moshe reveals it to us.
And where is the place of understanding?
Oh, that's a powerful question. Where do we go to get understanding?
Man knoweth not the price thereof.
Oh, that's deep. Man don't even know how expensive it is. He don't know the value of something like wisdom and knowledge, having understanding.
Neither is it found in the land of the living.
He said, no. Wow. He said, it's not even among living people. He said, it's not found there. A person can have a little of it, but that's not where it started. Wisdom didn't start with no human man. Man searches to the farthest ends and boundaries, the darkest places beneath the deepest sea and land level. This door is open to man, beyond where people go and have their normal daily lives passing over them above the earth, hanging far into the sky. He said, space travel. Man does all of that. Out of the earth, he gets bread, and under it is a fire, crust, heaven. Man builds dams, cuts through mountains. Earth is a ball of fire, and man conquers it, so it seems. But how he rules the seas and the streams and rivers to get precious stones. Man can find and bring light to hidden things. But wisdom, where shall that be found? And where's the place? There's no price, he says, you can pay for it. It's priceless. It is not to be found in the earth among wisdom and understanding among the living. It is not found in any one person. You can't buy it or purchase it from anyone. Proverbs said there's no equal of any metal or precious thing, stone of wisdom. Thence, when cometh wisdom? Come see.
The deep saith, it is not in me. The sea saith, it is not with me. It cannot be gotten for gold.
Cannot buy it with even gold.
Neither shall silver be weighed for the price thereof.
No, you can't weigh it out in silver and say, I'll pay this amount of silver for it.
It cannot be valued with the gold of Ophir.
Can't be measured with the gold of Ophir. It says, wisdom is better than rubies, and all things desirable are not to be compared unto it. It's the same thing Job was saying. That wisdom is all through Proverbs. You can just read it and you see. It's all through the Tanakh telling you that it's consistent wisdom. Nothing can be compared with it. It says.
With the precious onyx or the sapphire.
That's right. These stones, they call the gold of Ophir, which was located in Ezon Geber. That's where Solomon sent ships to recover that gold of Ophir down by the reed or the Red Sea. They even said the gold of Ophir had like a reddish color to it. Real precious. The onyx stones is called, again, in the Hebrew language, shoham. Shoham in Hebrew. And you find that, again, this stone and all these stones, they were worn by the high priest on his breastplate. The breastplate had the stones for every tribe. You study those stones, there's power in it. And just to let you know, we weren't cheap. We were royal. We still are a royal people. That's what we need to understand. That's why you like gold and silver. That wasn't nothing new to us. In ancient days, it was abundant. We had it. And people knew that everybody had a little of it. You can go and get it yourself. Come see, it's in the hills. Nobody can charge you to go get the gold. Now they're controlling everything.
Gold and glass cannot equal it.
Glass. You know what we call glass today? In ancient times, glass was as precious as gold. To have a glass to drink out of, something that's like ice that you can see through it, because that's what they're comparing this to, crystal, clear like ice. Come see, another precious stone.
Neither shall the exchange thereof be vessels of fine gold. No mention shall be made of coral or of crystal.
They're not even in the class. They're cheaper stones than the ones we've been naming. Don't even mention them, he says.
Yea, the price of wisdom is above rubies.
Man, that's the point. It's above rubies, it's above anything. Wisdom, a car. People do things and they work hard to get all these things, but they don't study. They don't want wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. They drop out of school because they think that they're gonna get rich quick. I mean, wisdom. See, when you have wisdom, you get rich, but you keep it. When you get rich and don't have wisdom, it goes through your hands. Even the rich better have some wisdom if you want to keep and hold on to his riches. Wisdom is needed for anything. To have a wife, you got to be wise. That's why marriages don't work out. Women got to be wise. Children have to be wise to have a strong family. That's why, hey, teaching. Our homes were founded upon the teaching of Yah's word. We knew that righteousness would exalt the individual and the family and the nation. The Torah, knowing right from wrong. That's more important than division. It's important, but not important as right, knowing right from wrong. Multiplication, very important to know it, but you better know right and wrong more first. Right and wrong comes before division, comes before multiplication, addition, and subtraction. If you know all of that and you're unrighteous, what does it matter? You don't have real knowledge. It's about right and wrong. Living is about right and wrong. Are you right or are you wrong? How much right? Okay, you give yourself a score. 1 out of 10, what's your score? If you're wise, you might say, I ain't giving myself no score. Y'all do that. But are you striving to get up at 7, at least 8 and 9? Are you striving for that? Don't tell me you're striving for 1 and 2 on the scale of righteousness. Go as high as you can go. As the message of Job is given, the wisdom of Moshe's pen. He goes on to say,
The topaz of Ethiopia shall not equal it, neither shall it be valued with pure gold. Whence then cometh wisdom? And where is the place of understanding?
He's asking that question. It's a legitimate question. Where do you find wisdom? He wants to know. There is no equal of any material. Where does wisdom come from? He goes on to say,
Seeing it is hid from the eyes of all living.
People can't find it. In other words, and have it. It's hidden from them. The source of wisdom is hidden from them. They may have some, but they didn't know the source. They're not the place where you can find it.
And kept close from the fowls of the ear. Destruction and death say, we have heard a rumor thereof. with our
You know,
ears.
now right there, person that hears death and destruction said something. Do I really want to hear this? Death is talking to us and telling us about wisdom. And he says, I've heard a rumor. Death can hear. Something to think about. So deaf with our ears seems like deaf is a whole, it's not like a one thing. It's like a plural. Don't take one, deaf takes everybody. He says further, 2033.
Y'all understandeth the way thereof.
Oh, wow, now you got my attention. The Most High Elohim, Havim, daughter Co. Who Yodea, Yada, Et, Mekoma. He knows the place. He knows, the Most High knows, he says. Oh, really? Got my attention.
And he knoweth the place thereof. For he looketh to the ends of the earth.
Oh, so I guess I better look to Yah if I want to get wisdom and understanding. That's what I've done. That's what we all should do. That's what we do in Israel. That's what we all have to do, get better at it. Tamshi.
And see it under the whole heaven.
Yes, he looked and he watching us. He's hearing us too, is what Job is saying.
When he maketh a wait for the wind.
And his friends are listening. He says he can wait a wind.
And measured out the waters by measure.
He can measure out all the water in the earth.
When he made a decree for the rain and a way for the storm of thunders.
He commanded rain, thunder, lightning. Everybody listens to the word of the Most High. They perform at his word.
Then did he see it and declare it.
In the beginning, when no man was around, he established it.
Yea, search it out.
Yes, the 8th proverb. We've been taught to read it every Shabbat. I've never stopped from the day I started. I read this every week. Now I read it in the Ivrit language, so I translate it. Yes, doth not wisdom call and understanding put forth her voice? In the top of high places, by the way, she's standing at the coming and at the doors where the path meets. She's standing. You got to wait for wisdom every day you wake up. You have to listen for it, see it, seek it out. Be aware that it's all around you. Tamshi.
And unto man he said, Behold, the fear of Yahweh, that is wisdom. And to depart from evil is understanding.
You find that in the 9th proverb also. All these things are found in other places in the Tanakh. They're reinforced. They never contradict themselves. Your word never contradicts. That's the difference between those other books. They contradict. And I can say respectfully, perhaps one that's different than the others is the Holy Quran. but it's not giving us our nationality. But it speaks truth, much truth about the Creator. But I always say, why should I take a part of the cake when the whole pie or the whole cake has been given to me? You have the whole truth. In those religions, they have part. They all have some wisdom in it. But Moshe, Hebrew culture, was the place Yah placed his word and his truth. It's called the Torah. It's called Joshua. 1st and 2nd Samuels. 1st and 2nd Kings. Yeshayahu, Isaiah. Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah. Kesquiyahu, Ezekiel. You get the message, so on and so forth. So you close it out with Malachi. Mal-Aki, meaning my messenger. They have to be your messengers that we listen to. There are others that have come and said they are prophets, but they are not prophets. They say Yah have spoken to them, but the Creator has not spoken to them. You must be the one to discern the truth. See, in our program, I never asked you to believe. I never will. I'm trying to teach you to know the truth. Because if you read and study, you'll know it. That's why we Hebrews, we don't believe. We just stick to what Yah said, and we know that what he said in his word is true. We don't have to go anyplace else. Just stick to home base, which is the word of Yah. And he said in Isaiah, if they speak not according to these words, there is no truth in them. If they speak not according to the prophets of Yah, according to the Torah of Moshe, given to him by Yah, there's no truth in them. They must be aligned with these words in the Bible. You weigh whether or not our teachings are aligned with your book. You have a book at home. Hopefully you're reading along with us. You say to yourself, you don't have to tell us. I love when you comment, especially when I get those intelligent comments that say, Cohen, I got it. I understand it. You're telling the truth and I understand it. And I remember one young lady called it, I'll never forget it. She said, Cohen, today I burned my New Testament because now I understand we don't need it. The truth is in the word of Yah. She made my day. And I want you to know this. I have family members that are still Christians, that were Christians. Yeah, I love them. I love you if you're a Christian, you're my brother and sister. This is not about that. This is about the truth. See, when you care about people, that's what love is. I know that the Creator is going to punish those that serve other gods. He said it, thou shalt have no other deities before me. He said that he's one. So if you were praising a 3-in-1 or you got more than one, it's not one Yah, it's going to be a problem for you in your life. And I want you to understand this. I'm not forcing this on you. I'm telling you, whether you listen, hear, or whether you don't listen, forbear to hear. If thou scornest, thou thyself shall bear it. So I don't even have to be worried if you call me names and get angry about what I'm saying. Because if you're wrong, you're going to bear that. If you go against this truth of the Most High. It's not going against me. It's going against your Bible. The part of it that is the truth. The beginning from Genesis to Malachi. You can't even have the other part without that part. No Bible can start with the New Testament with Matthew and make any sense. You have to ask, well, who's Abraham? They spoke about David. Well, who's David? I don't know where he's at. You got to have the Old Testament to be able to go. They can't even make up that lie. See, to tell a lie, you got to make it up by changing the truth. The lie never came first. That's why the lie in the New Testament is based on switching around what's in the Old. Let me show you the switches. Change God, the Creator, a spirit, to a man. changing the seventh day of the week, the Sabbath day, to the first day of the week. Saying that man can rise from the dead, and God said, when you're dead, you're done. Nobody rises from the dead. You can have your spirit lives on and goes back to Yah who gave it. Ecclesiastes 12:7 tells you that. And the spirit goes back to Yah who gave it. From dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return. So we have to get some understanding. Let's listen to a beautiful song that we have for you. Hopefully, it'll put you in the spirit of this approaching the climax. Every story has a plot. We're coming to the climax.
We praise Yah, we praise Yah. Yah, He is and always will be our King, and we will praise Him, and we will serve Him. You know we need Him, and yes, we love Him. Yah, He's alive, forever lives, watching you and me. Yes, He is. Yah, He's alive, forever lives, watching you and me. Yes, He is. Oh, yes, He reigns. You know He does. Shout aloud, tell the world you know Yehovah. Yes, He reigns. Oh, yes, He reigns. You know He does. Shout aloud, tell the world you know Yehovah. Yes, He reigns. We praise Yah, we praise Yah. Yah, He is and always will be our King, and we will praise Him, and we will serve Him. You know we need Him, and yes, we love Him. Yah, He's alive, forever lives, watching you and me. Yes, He is. Yah, He's alive, forever lives, watching you and me. Yes, He is. Oh, yes, He reigns. You know He does. Shout aloud, tell the world you know Yehovah. Yes, He reigns. Oh, yes, He reigns. You know He does. Shout aloud, tell the world you know Yehovah. Yes, He reigns. We praise Yah, we praise Yah. Yehovah King, Yah, He is and always will be our King, and we will praise Him, and we will serve Him. You know we need Him, and yes, we love Him. Yah, He's alive, forever live.
We had a little technical error there. We'll put the next song that we had on following this chapter. We now see that Job, as we come to our climax in the story, we're hoping to get to chapter 31 and 32. We'll pick up next week to close out the book of Job. We begin showing here that in chapter 29, Job remembers the time in his past when things were good. And it's very important to know that knowledge cannot be taken away from you, nor your memories. You have loved ones that are not here, but you also have treasured memories like I do. My father, my mother, my grandparents. Sometimes you think about the situations, they make you laugh because those memories are beautiful. When you can have memories of people who are no longer here, but in spirit, they are still with us. It says,
And Job again took up his parable and said,
Oh, that I were as in the months of old, as in the days when Yah watched over me, when his lamp shined above my head, and by his light I walked through darkness. As I was in days of my youth, when the converse of Yah was upon my tent, when the Almighty was yet with me, and my children were about me, when my steps were washed with butter, and the rock poured me out rivers of oil, when I went forth to the gate unto the city, when I prepared my seat in the broad place, young men saw me and hid themselves.
There, Job is saying, I remember when princes and the age rose up and stood up when I walked in. I remember Job says, when he spoke, the nobles became quiet and they listened. Everyone who saw him acknowledged him when he was capable of helping and did help the less fortunate. He says he remembers when he made the poor and the struggling families sing for joy. He protected the helpless. He caused tears of joy in people who were sad, spoke against wrong and unrighteousness. He goes on saying when he remembered.
And the aged rose up and stood. The princes refrained talking and laid their hand on their mouth. The voice of the nobles was hushed, and their tongue cleaved to the roof of their mouth.
Job was great, and I want you to know, I want some of the children are probably saying, his name is Job and not Job. That's the bastardization of the English language. We go to get a J-O-B. It's a job, not a Job. His name is Eov. But they call him Job. But a child's looking and saying, Cohane is pronouncing that wrong. His name is Job. That's what we need. We need a job. That's what we all need. We have a problem because some people are downtrodden and sad because they don't have no job. But this is about Eob, a man that's having trouble. And they call him Job. They call him like they call us. We're being called out of our name. Why are we being called out of our name? We're living out of our character. We're supposed to be righteous. And the world looks on us as an evil, a wicked, a low-life, debased people. Debased. That's what we have to understand. We're not respected because we don't live a lifestyle of respect. So a part of this wisdom, let Job go on and say what he remembers.
For when the ear heard me, then it blessed me. And when the eyes saw me, it gave witness unto me.
Job said, everybody looked at me, acknowledged me. I lit up a room when I came in. I was a great man among the people because I delivered the poor.
That cried, and the fatherless also, that had none to help
And
them.
you all calling me unrighteous. See, don't forget they're sitting there listening. He's listening to what he did. And you all say, I'm unrighteous?
The blessing of him that was ready to perish came upon me, and I caused a widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on righteousness, and it clothed itself with me.
Yeah, but y'all ain't talking about that. You're saying I did something.
My justice was as a robe and a diadem.
He said, man, how I did my fairness, it was like I had a crown on my head.
I was eyes to the blind, and feet was I to the lame. I was a father to the needy.
When people didn't have a leg, I walked for them. When they couldn't see, I guided them. I took them across the road.
And the cause of him that I knew not, I searched out. And I broke the jaws of the unrighteous.
Proclaim your righteousness, Job. That's what he's doing.
And plucked the prey out of his teeth.
He said when an unrighteous person took advantage of a poor person, I delivered them from that unrighteous man.
Then I said, I shall die with the nest, and I shall multiply my days as a phoenix.
He said, I thought that I was going to get, a blessing with all that. I would surely reap good for all these things that I've done. But look at what has happened to me.
My roots shall be spread out to the waters, and the dew shall lie all night upon my branch.
In other words, I would be blessed. I would think that's what I deserve for all the good that I've done.
My glory shall be fresh in me.
And those men are sucking their teeth, they're making faces. You know what you would be doing here, someone proclaim their self-righteousness, and they fanning their hand at them, putting their hands on their ears probably. Don't want to hear no more. But Job is not finished yet. He got a lot more to say.
My glory shall be fresh in me, and my bow shall be renewed in my hand. Unto me men gave ear and waited, and kept silence from my counsel. After my words, they spoke not again.
Nobody said nothing. My word, Job said, was the last word in the conversation.
And my speech dropped upon them.
Because I gave them wisdom. They knew I spoke right, and nobody challenged him.
And they waited for me as for the rain, and they opened their mouth wide as for the latter rain.
Listen to that. Now, you know people get mad at that. People waiting for you like they wait for the rain. That's very arrogant for you to talk like that. I mean, you boasting like beyond human boasting, man. You a bragger like nobody brags.
If I laughed on them, they believed it not.
He said, in other words, even if I laughed at them, he said, they didn't. He said, whatever I did, people went along with it. If I said it was right, whatever I did, it was okay with everybody. He said, even when I laughed at them, they didn't say what they did. They didn't get upset about it. He said, when I had my countenance was not cast down because I said something, everybody supported anything I said. They stood by me all the time.
And the light of my countenance they cast not down.
He said, they didn't put me down. He said, those were the good old days. I remember them.
I chose out their way and sat as chief.
He said, I was the chief man amongst them. He said that when they wanted to go a direction, he said, no, wherever I led them, that's when they followed. They went in my direction. They found their own way to go home in the way I showed them. He said, I was like a king in the army. He said, as one that comfort mourners. He said, man, I was a father to all them children. And look at me now.
And dwelt as a king in the army, as one that comforted the mourners.
But now,
they are younger than I have in me in derision.
He said, but now, they that are younger than me, they laugh at me. All these young men, that I could be their grandfather, I'm their joke now because Job is poor, Job done went down, Job sinned, Job has been stripped of all his wealth and everything. Look at him now.
Whose fathers
their parents. They were like on the status with my dogs in my flock. They like served me. Now they're laughing at me.
Whose fathers I disdain to set with the dogs of my flock? Yea, the strength of their hands. Whereto should it profit me?
He said, even whatever they had, they couldn't help me. I helped them, they never helped me. I was too wealthy.
Men in whom ripe age is perished. They are gaunt with want and famine.
Yes, he's saying, look at these guys. They are terrible the way the world is today. That these guys have now come down to the point where they don't have no respect for men of honor. They look at me, I look thin. They look at my appearance, I look worn. And so because I look bad, they disrespect me. They gnaw like I'm some dry ground, worn away, removed. They look at me and they say, persistent lifting up. They taunted me. They say, Job is corroded. Job has been consumed. Gloom and waste and desolation. Oh, they look at me and they see darkness, overcast, disheartening, despondency. He said, that's all they see in me. He said, they dwell in holes in the rocks. These people dwell in gaps, in hollow places in the ground, opening cavities and vaults and burrows in the ground. And they look down on me, Job, the great Job, who's nothing now in their sight. The righteous Job, the honest, clean Job. They knew I was a righteous man. And that's why I was blessed. And I've done nothing wrong now. Don't shake.
They gnaw the ground in the gloom of wasteness and desolation. They pluck saltwort with wormwood, and the roots of the broom are their food.
So these guys, they don't even eat normal food. They're compared to my table, they was eating herbs, man. They didn't have meat. And now they're looking down on me.
They are driven forth from the midst of men. They cry after them as after a thief.
That's right, begging.
In the clefts of the valleys must they dwell, in the holes of the earth and of the rocks.
This man was not on my status, but they now look down on me. Among the bushes,
they are brave.
Just like a donkey crying out.
Under the nettles, they are gathered together.
Yes, where you got things that sting you and pinch you and all of that with needles, that's where they live. They live in the rough.
They are children of churls.
They have children that don't have ill-mannered children. They ain't got no type of respect and what have you. He said, these are the people now that look down on me. And their children even look down on me. Their fathers wasn't even, they weren't on the level with my servants, with the dogs that watched over the flock. But now they disrespect me.
Yea, children of ignoble men, they are scourged out of the land.
They said, these people are something today. How they look, man. Mean people. People that are of no type of repute. They looking down with disdain on me. And now,
I am become their son.
Everybody laughing at me or singing about me. Yeah, I am a byword
unto them.
They done changed my name. Everybody calling me out of my name. My name is Eob. But they ain't calling me that. They calling me every type of thing. Sinner, liar, cheat, all that stuff. I ain't did none of that.
They abhor me. They flee far from me.
Nobody don't want to come by. My wife don't even want to sleep next to her. She say my breath smell bad.
And spare not to spit in my face.
Everybody say I'm nothing in people's sight. And God is the one who did this.
For he had loosed my cord and afflicted me. And they have cast off the bridle before me.
Yeah, they took off the bridle off their mouth. They say anything to me they want to say. And you've heard all three, you've been doing that. Only one that said nothing to him for me is Elihu. He's been quiet.
Upon my right hand rise the brood.
Yes, the whole family is against me. A brood of them evildoers.
They entangle my feet.
They trap me on every side.
And they cast up against me their ways of destruction.
Yeah, everybody won't see him fall.
They break up my path. They further my calamity.
They make things worse than they are.
Even men that have no helper.
That's right. They ain't got nobody to help them, but they ain't helping me. You guys ain't no help whatsoever.
As through a wide breach they come.
Yeah, they come creeping out some wide breach to find me so they can make me feel bad.
In the midst of the ruin, they roll themselves upon me.
I'm already ruined. Why you keep pouring salt in my womb, Job is saying. Terrors are turned upon me. Can't you see everything is bad? Why are you adding to my troubles with your words of so-called comfort?
They chase mine honor as the wind.
I was respected and you just threw all of that under the bus.
And my welfare is passed away as a cloud. And now my soul is poured out within me.
He said, now I'm speaking my mind and don't nobody say nothing. Nobody ain't saying a word. Job got the floor for a while now and he's going to go on for a few more chapters. I'm saying, let him rave on.
Days of affliction have taken hold upon me. In the night, my bones are pierced and fall from me, and my sinews take no rest. By the great force of my disease is my garment disfigured. It bindeth me about as a collar of my coat. He hath cast me into the mire.
I'm in the mud. I'm just wallowing in the ground.
And I am become like dust and ashes.
I can't go any lower.
I cry unto thee, and thou dost not answer.
That's how people feel today. Someone feels like Yah's not answering. They're sad, they have a lot of trouble. And I hope they're learning that, as you will learn, Yah hears everything. See, there's a silent listener that we haven't mentioned yet, and that's the Most High. He's going to be the last speaker. That's what we'll hear next week. And then we're going to see and understand this completely when all the understanding and the reprimandment to all the parties is meted out. The three men are wrong. He's going to tell them why and where. Job is wrong. Going to tell them why and where. And a young boy, a youth, Elihu is going to let them know in his young way what they did not consider. And he's going to be respectful because he's going to say, all of you are older than I am. That's why I haven't said anything. And then when he speaks, the Most High is going to come in after him. Job is going to end out his words in chapter 31, where we get today, hopefully. And again, we'll see that again. His three friends have nothing more to say. Everybody's listening. It says,
I stand up, and thou lookest at me. Thou art turned to be cruel to me. With the might of thy hand thou hatest me. Thou liftest me up to the wind. Thou causest me to ride upon it, and thou dissolvest my substance. For I know that thou wilt bring me to death, and to the house appointed for all living. Surely none shall put forth his hand to a ruinous heap. Neither because of these things shall help come into one's calamity.
He's teaching that way about the Most High Yah. That in other words, he's broke his bones, he's done all those things to him. He can do it to anybody. And he says, if I have not wept for him that was in trouble, I did all these things, and look what has happened. Days of affliction are come upon him for doing good. And that's how he feels. And we all know why he feels that way. But can any of us say, like Job, that our trouble is due because Satan asked the Creator, could he test us? Or are we really sinners? We have to decide that and see, can we argue like Job? Let's take it through.
If I have not wept for him that was in trouble, and if my soul grieve not for the needy.
Did you and I do all these things? It's a little checklist that we can use. Yet,
when I looked for good, there came evil.
That's in Job's case, but what in ours?
And when I waited for light, there came darkness.
In other words, were we the ones who were waiting for light and did good, or did it come because we did wrong? Some of us, we all know the answer in our own situation. Are we perfect, like Job pretended he was? And we know he did no wrong, but are we in Job's shoes?
My inwards boil and rest not. Days of affliction are come upon me.
Anybody that have trouble, it ain't because you're innocent. We all are guilty.
I go mourning without the sun. I stand up in the assembly and cry for help. I am become a brother to jackals and a companion to ostriches.
You birds that have their head in the ground, I'm hiding myself like them.
My skin is black and falleth from me, and my bones are burned with heat. Therefore is my harp turned to mourning, and my pipe into the voice of them.
And his last words say, I made a covenant with my eyes.
How then shall I look upon a maid?
He said, I don't even look at women that are not intended for me. Any woman, he said, my eyes, I made a covenant. I would not even lust on women.
For what will be the portion of Yah from above?
He said, because I tried to live right.
And the heritage of the Almighty from on high.
Yes, and again, he says, is not calamity
to the unrighteous?
He said, but I'm righteous. Look what happened to me.
And disaster to the workers of iniquity?
He said, that's who deserves disasters.
Doth he not see my ways and count all my steps?
Don't he know everything about me? He said, no, I did nothing.
If I walked with vanity, and my foot had hasted to deceit, let me be weighed in a just balance, that Yah may know mine integrity.
He said, you know the balance of my life. Why are you judging me like this? He's asking. If my step
had turned out of the way,
you would know it.
And my heart walked after my eyes,
then I would deserve everything you did.
And if any spot had cleaved to my hands.
He said, any dirt or anything that cleaves to me, he said, if I'm wrong in any way, if I don't have clean hands, I deserve the judgment.
Then let me sow, and let another eat.
He said, let somebody get my reaping for my hard work, if I am guilty.
Yea, let the produce of my field be rooted out.
He said, everything that I produce, he said, let it spoil and die and be rooted out.
If my heart had been enticed unto a woman.
He said, if I've been seduced by a woman and done evil and approached a woman that I shouldn't approach, he said, then let this happen.
And if I have lain in wait at my neighbor's door.
If I just plotted to take another man's wife.
Then let my wife grind onto another.
Listen to that one. Now, brothers, everybody can relate that. You know this is not Europeans. You know this is us right there. He said, then let my wife grind with another man.
Let others bow down upon her.
Let others bow down on her, have sex with her.
For that were an hideous
That's a terrible thing that I should be judged by, Job is saying, but I didn't do none of that.
Yea, it were an iniquity to be punished by the judges.
I would deserve it, but
for there's a fire that consumeth unto destruction.
He said that type of thing will bring you to destruction for sure.
I will root out all mine increase.
He said everything that I have will be lost when you mess with another man's wife.
If I did despise the cause of my manservant.
That's just the Torah being talked about in these words. Can't you see the Torah all through it? All of these are laws that we should or should not do. If I did despise, had hatred in my heart, hold a grudge even against my servant.
Or of my maidservant, when they contended with me, what then shall I do when Yah riseth
When
up?
I'm not fair to my servant, he said, then I would deserve everything that's happened.
And when he remembereth, what shall I answer?
And what should I say when I'm wrong before the Most High and a sinner?
Did not he that made me in the womb make him? And did not one fashion us in the womb?
I love that. We all the same before you. I don't care if you're a garbage digger or garbage sanitation worker, a bus driver, it doesn't matter. You could be a professor, you could be the king. You're all going to the same place. Everybody going to the same place. Ain't nobody better than no one else when it comes to life and the troubles and things that can happen.
If I have withheld aught that the poor desired, or had caused the eyes of a widow to fail, or have eaten my morsel myself alone,
and didn't feed other people while I had my meal.
and the fatherless had no thereof. Nay, from my youth he grew up with me as with a father, and I have been her guide from my mother's womb.
I helped everybody I could.
If I have seen my wanderer in the want of clothing,
That's what Job is saying. I helped the people that was on the street with no clothes.
or what the needy had no covering, if his loins have not blessed me, and if he were not warmed with the fleece of my sheep, if I have lifted up my hand against the fatherless, because I saw my help in the gate, then let my shoulder fall from the shoulder blade.
Yes, you know what he said? Cut my shoulder off from the shoulder blade if I'm guilty of any of these things.
And mine arm be broken from the bone.
Break my arm and break the bone from the bone, not at the where it's supposed to come at, what you call the shoulder blade, where everything joint, not at the joint, break the bone.
For calamity from Yah was a terror to me. By reason of his majesty, I could do nothing.
I feared the Most High, that's why I didn't do these sins, Job is saying. And if I had made gold,
my hope, and have said to the fine gold, thou art my confidence.
in other words, if I put my trust in material things like gold and silver.
If I rejoiced before my wealth was great.
Are you one of those persons? Am I that person that Job is describing that he is not? That's the wisdom in all of this.
And because my hand had gotten much, if I beheld the sun when it shined, or the moon walking in brightness, and my heart had been secretly enticed, and my mouth had kissed my hand.
In other words, you worship the host of heaven secretly, had a false god, or give ego to yourself. You love yourself so much that you love yourself more than you love Yah. This also
Were an iniquity to be punished by the judges.
For I have
For I should lie to Yah that is above.
That's right. He can't be a liar. He can't be a hypocrite. If I rejoice
at the destruction of him that hated me, or exalted when evil found him, yea, I suffered not my mouth to sin by asking his life with a curse.
All of us is judging this. We're checking it off in our own lives.
If the men of my tent said not, who can find one that had not been satisfied with his meat?
Who's hungry? Are you the person that helped the hungry? Are you living that lifestyle?
The stranger did not lodge in the street.
I didn't let people that had no place to go. And I want you to know, that was in Job time. You better not take a person off the street without discretion today and bring him in the house. Don't say Cohane told us when he taught Job to take the people off the street and bring them in the house. I did not tell you that. You better have some wisdom when you bring it in your house today. It says in verse 33.
My doors I opened to the roadside. If after the manner of men I covered my transgressions by hiding my iniquity in my bosom.
Yes, if I was a hypocrite.
Because I feared a great multitude, and the most contemptible among families terrified me, so that I kept silence and went not out of the door.
I didn't speak out against wrong because I feared. He said I did.
Oh, that I had one to hear me. Lo, here's my signature. Let the Almighty answer me, that I had the indictment which my adversary had written.
I've been indicted by these men. You three, he's telling those three friends, you guys have called me. You've said I've been charged. You've charged me with committing a sin. Surely
I will carry it upon my shoulder. I will bind it unto me as a crown. I will declare unto him the number of my steps. As a prince will I go near unto him. If my land cry out against me, and the furrows thereof whip together, if I have eaten the fruits thereof without money, or have caused the tillers thereof to be disappointed.
If I didn't pay for what I took, wronged anybody by cheating them, he says the following, ending out.
Let thistles grow instead of wheat, and noisome weeds instead of barley.
That's right. In other words, Job is saying, let things that stick you, needles and stinging things come up, and let the weeds of his barley, let it stink and be foul. That's what he's saying. Let that stink and be foul because of the evil that I've done. We ended out today with these words.
The words of Job are ended. The words of Job are ended. So these three men ceased to answer Job, because he was righteous in his own eyes. Then was kindled the wrath of Elihu, the son of Barakel the Buzite, of the family of Ram. Against Job was his wrath kindled, because he justified himself rather than God. Also against his three friends was his wrath kindled, because they had found no answer, yet had condemned Job.
And next week we pick it up where it says now Elihu. So we know that the three friends are angry. And we know that Elihu was upset because Job did not justify Yah, but tried to justify himself. A thought to take into our closing of this book. Time has run out on us, so we're going to give the Yivareka and ask Yah to bless and be with each and every one of you. Yivareka Yehovah Yishmareka. Ya'ir Yehovah Panayo Aleka Wikuneka. Yisa Yehovah Panayo Aleka. Wayasim Laka Shalom. May Yehovah bless thee and keep thee. May Yehovah cause his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. May Yehovah lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. So shall the Cohane put my name upon the children of Israel, and I, Yehovah, says he will bless them. Hallelujah.
And they should put my name upon the children of Israel, and I bless them. Sing